wanna tell you a little story about Kony 2012 and the invisible children in an academic sort of way. Yeah. Earl and Kimport discuss the inducement of emotional responses in relation to online activism. I want to talk about this and how the ability for all people to feel as if they can engage and make a real difference can lead to critical issues affecting the effectiveness of such activism. I've got one classic example that everyone alive in 2012 is definitely going to remember. It's Kony 2012, which Chazal and Pocrnic described as relying on easily digestible narratives that encouraged an imperialistic military legal response to the Lord's Resistance Army's use of child soldiers. If we want to talk about the potential for online activism to go wrong, there's no better place to start than the slick, polished video recruitment of the entire world by Invisible Children, the group responsible for the whole campaign. Here's what happened. On March 5, 2012, charitable organisation Invisible Children, a group focusing on the plight of child soldiers in Uganda, released a video entitled Kony 2012, which detailed said plight and encouraged a form of mass activism which included their Cover the Night postering initiative. Within a week, the video had 100 million views, making it a contender for the most viral video of all time and attracting an incredible level of attention from all levels of society. The crux of the issue focused around the eponymous Kony, a Ugandan warlord and international war crimes fugitive, and the issues associated with bringing him to justice and freeing his army of children. Surely not a soul alive could begrudge a charity that goal. No one was thinking, oh bloody hell, no one cares about enslaved children or a bloodthirsty warlord, just let it go, guys. So the issue was attractive and engaging. The video itself was slick and the production was great. If you were, for instance, to compare it with this video, one might generate such comparisons as Chalk and Cheese, where invisible children were Stilton paired with a lovely Shiraz, and I am the dust of chalk that clings helplessly to the blackboard eraser. It was a quality production. If you weren't alive at the time, or you were somehow entirely removed from all communication, you might not remember how ubiquitous the video and its associated activities and activists were. It was incredibly compelling and relatable. Of a previous video, Netta Kligler-Valenchik notes, the main strength of the movie to most IC members is the feeling of identification with the protagonists. The three filmmakers and future IC founders, young people not much older than themselves, who go out to Uganda, encounter a social issue, and launch a movement. So the issue itself, the presentation, and the people encouraging the activism all combined to become catnip for the mainly youths who felt compelled to do something. Kony 2012 didn't exist in a vacuum. In fact, despite the incredible rise to prominence that Invisible Children received following the extreme virality of their video, they'd been releasing on average a video a year on the topic of Kony and Ugandan children for years prior to Kony 2012's release. Overall, there were several issues which compounded and ended up vastly overshadowing the intention of Invisible Children. Firstly, the extreme virality of the video brought with it a different kind of attention. Media organisations began reporting not on the content and design of the video, but simply on the fact that it had so many views. And it didn't have just quite a few views, it had 100 million views in 10 days, which is an astonishing amount for anything that isn't an Adele music video. It was staggering, and its popularity was news in itself. Sam Gregory states, paradoxically, the success of the video itself seems to have, in this case, detracted from the engagement potential of the campaign, suggesting that the video itself became the focus, leading to a decrease in engagement with the true essence of the video. On the one hand, there was focus on the video because it was popular. On the other, the engagement that it did generate tended to be what cynics or scholars lacking in irony refer to as slacktivism. As a brief aside, and another reason for the eventual failure of IC to achieve their goals, CEO Jason Russell had what he referred to as a loss of control of my mind or my body, leading to a public episode which further detracted from the overall campaign and served to provide more ammunition for the mounting critics. But let's talk about slacktivism and how it relates here. What is this slacktivism? In the wake of the original release, and at the point at which the video had accrued a mere 70 million views, Al Jazeera produced a feature on the dangers of what it called clicktivism, but what we might refer to as slacktivism, stating, critics say the video, which now has more than 76 million views, distorts the facts and reinforces Western stereotypes, going on to say, many netizens have challenged clicktivism, the idea that one engages in activism by sharing something online, and its potential to shape real-world change, in a very early example of the cynicism which was to mar the video and blur IC's true intentions. Academically, slacktivism can more closely be defined as a willingness to perform a relatively costless token display of support for a social cause with an accompanying lack of willingness to devote significant effort to enact meaningful change. This is relevant because despite the incredible, and it's hard to overstate that, amount of views that the video had, and even with their postering campaign and the relatively good engagement there, IC accomplished little, and as such drew more criticism for engaging activists who are unwilling to do much more than get a packet of stickers and put them on their pencil cases at school. The criticism itself generated a backlash, with one notable example being UNICEF Sweden launching its Likes Don't Save Lives campaign, which communicated to consumers that meaningful financial contributions, rather than mere token displays of support for the cause, are required to protect children in developing nations against disease in this case. Clearly, the idea of slacktivism is easily applied to the Kony situation. While it did indeed generate a great deal of enthusiasm, the sheer number of views for the video and the widespread media attention seems to have drawn even more comparison to the level of engagement and the level of people legitimately supporting the cause. On a surface level, it's easy to suggest that people watched the video, put up a poster, and then just did nothing. I don't want to suggest that there were no issues with the campaign. Criticisms regarding its accuracy, ideals of the white saviour complex, and the overstatement of Kony's influence at the time all affected the ability of IC to translate views into tangible change. But we should take note that it's very easy to suggest that slacktivists are the one reason for all issues here. Just because something rhymes doesn't make it true. I want to leave you with this. Surely you were all there at the time of the release, and regardless of which side you were on, I was admittedly cynical from the start. It's important to reflect on the events of the time and take into consideration the ways in which it affected the ways we view online activism now, and the lessons that have been learned from the whirlwind that was Kony 2012. Remember that activism takes many forms, and whilst it's easy to be cynical, we shouldn't let that overshadow the true meaning in activism. As much as many activists were such in name only, the media storm which surrounded IC in Kony 2012 in the immediate aftermath ensured that the message of the video and those who truly took up the cause lost much of their legitimacy.